Buddies, it's Concert Buddy. As you can see, I am not in my normal spin center for this video. I'm actually on vacation, but I oddly enough scheduled a vacation the same weekend as Record Store Day. So I had to break my routine, break the walls down, go to another store out of state, whole new experience. So coming up after the break, I'm going to show you what I picked up, talk about my experiences and overall feel for how Record Store Day went from my experience multiple states away. Cue the lever. I'll see you in a second. All right, buddies. As I alluded to in the intro, Record Store Day, the 23rd of April, Saturday, just happened to coincide with me and my wife and our vacation. We try to annually vacation in Hilton Head Island, South Carolina. The good news was I knew of some record shops kind of nearby I had been to before, one of which I knew does really great business, or at least great business for me in the past. Post Record Store Day, if I miss a title, I can jump on their website when the releases are eligible to be sold to the general public, and I've been able to pick up a lot of records post haste, like the Lady Gaga Chromatica a couple years ago, or probably wasn't even a couple years ago, but things like that come to mind. So good working relationship that's called Monster Music in Charleston, South Carolina. Pretty decent sized store, and like I said, they must do a lot of volume, move a lot of units, because they usually have a lot of stock even online post Record Store Day. So I felt like I would be in good hands doing my first ever Record Store Day outside of my normal routine. Like, I've got it down to a science.
You know, I'm something of a scientist myself.
How to hit the stores in order in case I miss things. Did my usual research, like I'm sure a lot of you did. Had my eye on a certain budgetary number, of course, like every year. Forget it, threw out the window as soon as you get in the store. With that said, I was fortunate. I got everything I was looking for, and the one thing I couldn't get, I actually got later in the evening, but I'll get to that in a second. So Monster, really cool store. People who run it, really nice. Their process was open at 8 a.m. Eastern, line up, kind of send the giant line as it goes. I got there. Where I'm staying is about 2 hours away, so I had to get up at like 4:20 to get there at about 6:30, which I thought would be a pretty fair time. Getting there at 6:30 got me to about 50th in line, so it's a little later than I normally am back home in St. Louis, my normal stops.
Ouchtown population, you bro!
But I had faith, because again, past relationship, past experience with them, they have gotten a lot of stock, so I wasn't too particularly worried. Could also tell that, especially as the crowd grew in size, that a lot of people who usually probably don't go to Record Store Day, i.e. Swifties, were there. I know I've made jokes in the past about this goofy 7-inch. I tell you what, the Taylor Swift 7-inch, probably the hottest record in Record Store Day history. Monster, where I was, they just walked by, gave everyone a piece of paper, entered a drawing. I don't know if they gave them away or the drawing gave you an opportunity to sell them. Obviously, I didn't win in the drawing. Too bad, so sad.
Think a minute before you cry and moan about your own feelings.
Long and short of it, Monster, 8 a.m. The line was probably about 200 people, I would say, all in, maybe. Just kind of gut estimate. Doors open, line starts going. The line just kept going and going and going, and I'm like, this is great. Like, they must have a very orderly thing through the store. I tell you what, and this is not a knock, it's just a different experience. As soon as you walk through the door, it was straight up bedlam. Stuff over here, stuff over there, stuff on a table behind the way, stuff as soon as you walk in. It was sensory overload. So at that point, it became like a bad Black Friday at Walmart exercise.
So y'all need to hide your kids, hide your wife, and hide your husband, because they raping everybody out here.
Like, if you see it, grab it kind of thing. I was expecting, like, the St. Louis stores I'm accustomed to They've got everything in bins. You make kind of like a snake line. You go through, generally in alpha order, if not something close to it. So then you can kind of know what you're looking for if you've already kind of mentally prepared a list in your head. Monster, it was just it was Darwinism personified. Survival of the fittest. Grab, take, find. So needless to say, FOMO immediately set in. Things that were on the periphery of my initial list, as soon as I saw them, I just took them. It's just insanity. It was just it was crazy. It was crazy in a good way because like everyone's a good spirit. I saw people handing each other titles and stuff. So that was good. Again, a lot of folks who usually aren't involved. So good, bad, right? It's good that's bringing more people into the cohesive fabric of what Record Store Day is and bringing people to stores. Bad in the sense that people who go every year, it's just one more body in the way. But all in all, I mean, what are you going to do? That said, let me show you a couple things I picked up. First thing, I was real excited about this one. I don't know if anyone watching has paid attention or listened to the podcast from Zev Feldman. He's been on a couple, and Leach leading up to Record Store Day. This title, this Mingus, the Lost Album from Ronnie Scott's. I mean, this is a 50-year-old recording, 1972. That is the first time it's ever seen the light of day, Earth of Day. I guess his widow had the tapes, and it's a great story. I would definitely recommend listening to it. Zev tells it far better than I'll ever try to, but this is the 3-vinyl recording. From my understanding, sounds fantastic. I can't wait. Obviously, being on vacation, no turntable. I'm definitely not in a spin center, so I'm gonna have to wait to listen to this one. But this was one that I was very excited to pick up, and can't wait to spin it when I get home.
Treat yourself.
All right, that aforementioned FOMO. This is the FOMO title, this Grateful Dead box. This is April 8th, 1972 from Wembley Empire Pool in London. When I first saw the list and I saw the general mock-ups of this title, I thought it was the 72 live album again, and just with different artwork, very similar if you've seen that piece. This apparently is a different recording. It's a limited edition of 10,000. I've kind of gotten into the Dead the last couple of years. They did that release from the Fox Theater in St. Louis, 1972. My very, very, very limited research into the Dead of what I know so far. 72, early 70s, 73 was kind of like their wheelhouse from a creative and just jamming perspective. So it's my understanding these are titles that definitely have them sounding their best. Again, another one that I'm looking forward to spinning. I know when I went to other shops, spoiler alert, in the day, this one was hit or miss. I didn't see this one too often. When I went back to Monster, which I'll get to in a second, later in the day, they still had more of these. So if you're looking for it, definitely check out Monster online. They may still have it, but pretty cool art. I mean, the Dead definitely has kind of their branding, and one of those bands that if you think back, I mean, these guys have been doing it for decades, right? People dying, new people joining the band, Dead and Company, etc. I mean, they were one of the first ones that really did the branding of their band in a really great, like, organic way, right? So happy to pick this one up. So this title is the Belle of the Ball.
The Belle of the Ball.
For me, from everything that I'd researched and read, other YouTube videos online, this was the title for me to get. This Art Pepper meets the rhythm section. Again, fantastic story behind this recording. There's a lot of Miles Davis's backing band here. Anyway, if you're interested in that story, it's definitely online. Other YouTubers tell it far, far better than I'll ever try to. But Craft Recordings does an A+ job in terms of these reissues. This one, I believe, was mastered by Bernie, the man, Bernie Grunman. This is a mono recording. I think later in the year they're going to release this in stereo, but I know the mono one for Record Store Day was going to be a hot ticket, according to other videos and everything else I'd read online in the forums. But I actually had missed this. Again, going back, alluding to that bedlam that was going on in the record store, I went through and I had my stack and I had not found this. And I was like, oh shit, probably gonna miss this. My number one, and I'm gonna miss it. Asked for help. The poor people working were just like, I didn't take it personally. They weren't a great help, only in the sense that it was just like sensory overload for them too. So giving grace, it is what it is. I made another walked through, found it, grabbed it, got the hell out of there, right? But this one, like, super pumped. I'm sure if you check your local record stores or check online, you can probably track this one down in the next couple days after Record Store Day. I think this was released like 6,000 was the count on this release, but super pumped on this one. Preliminary reading on the forums from people who've listened to it say it's A+, so like super pumped on this one. Yeah, so just for this alone, Record Store Day is a hit. Anytime you can get your number one, I mean, that's a big win, right?
Got him!
That was not the only record store I went to. I got pretty much everything I was looking for, but I was looking for the Record Store Day book. I don't know if you guys are familiar with this. I wasn't until literally a couple days before, as I was doing more research, listening more podcasts, what have you. Apparently there's almost drop it, Larry Jaffe did a book talking about the first 15 years of Record Store Day. Obviously it's the 15th anniversary. Talking about its origins. It's a nice beach book by their own admission, so I've been reading my paperback. I bought it before my trip on the beach, but I learned that they actually, for Record Store Day, did a hardback plus a record inside that has performances from people from Record Store Day past, be it Metallica at Rasputin in San Francisco, Paul McCartney at Amoeba in LA, who else? Billie Eilish, I mean, you name it. I think Foo Fighters, from one of their live performances. So anyway, that was what really piqued my interest, because from a licensing perspective, I know how hard comps can be. I don't know if they'll release this as a standalone any other day, but that was the last piece of the puzzle for me. They didn't have it at Monster. I literally saw a guy hand it to another dude, and it was like the last one. It was like, the worst, right? When they're that close and you see it, and I asked Billy Bob, or whoever it was, this guy, hey man, where'd you get that? Oh, right over there, and whatever, didn't go anywhere. So that led me to go to the other record store that I knew in Charleston. It's called the Record Stop. It's in like Old Town Charleston, I would say, a lot of cobblestone, brick roads, that kind of thing. Really cool. The only time we had been in that area before it was like a really rainy day, so you didn't really get to see and experience like how beautiful that area is. It's a nice sunny day here in Record Store Day for me. And anyway, so it's Record Stop. Obviously they must have opened at 8 as well. They're pretty picked over. It's a decent shop. Curation is very interesting. I'll leave it at that. I will say they did have a couple of titles that I didn't see at Monster. They did not have the Record Store Day book, so I was really just like hating life at that point. But what I did pick up was the Foo Fighters, speaking of, did a 7-inch of Making a Fire. I guess Mark Ronson, the DJ, producer guy, he I guess did a re-engineering of this. I haven't heard this yet. And then there's also Chasing Birds, which is also another, I believe, song on their last album, Minutes to Midnight, pardon me, that the Preservation Hall Jazz Band must have jammed on. So I'm curious what this will sound like. Obviously, still this bummer about Taylor and what's going to lie ahead for the future of the band. It really, it's such a drag. But anyway, this was kind of more of an emotional purchase, because I usually don't do 7 inches, but for this one, I was just, I just kind of felt right to get this. So I'll be curious what this sounds like when I get home. And then wasn't on my list. It was just kind of like, I'm there. I didn't see it at Monster. This Rick Astley, go get your ass Rick rolled.
Never gonna give you up, never gonna let you down, never gonna run around and desert you.
Again, it was just like, hey, it's Record Store Day. Hey, it's always great to support these local businesses, small businesses. I don't mind paying for this. They, like I said, they didn't have it at Monster. And the weirdest thing, and it's very true if you go look on Discogs, the secondary market for original pressings of this are like really wild. So they do you a favor, and they give you the Never Gonna Give You Up is the first track. So literally you can just play this first track and never have to listen to the rest of the record again. But impulse purchase, fun purchase. That's what Record Store Day is about to me, is like, hey, you're there. if you've been blessed and can afford these things and want to have fun, and you know, music should be fun above all else. And so this was just kind of a fun purchase.
This is the funnest night ever.
Back to this little turd. Like I said, I wasn't able to find the hardback at Monster. Actually went back to Monster, trying to look for some other titles for a friend of mine. And I was hoping maybe they had them somewhere else. They also had, Monster had a great deal, great, overall very good Record Store Day experience. That's outside of this chaos of the organization piece. They offer like 30% off used and 15% off other new stock, non-Record Store Day stuff. So highly recommend them. They do a great online business, great mailers. I'll probably talk about them in a future video in terms of my record stores you should know series that I'm putting together. But anyway, couldn't find it. I went online in a lot of stores getting ready for 8 a.m. the next morning when they can sell the rest of their stock online. Couldn't find it. Starting to sweat a little bit, and then by the grace of the Hoffman forums, or might have been Vinyl Collective, I don't know where I was. I was kind of in a haze. I'd been up since 4:20 that morning, right? Going through, found a link to a place. I'll post a link below if you're interested in this hardback / vinyl piece. But I found one, and it was free shipping on top of that, so it's like the wait was well worth it in that sense, since I didn't have to pay shipping. They haven't filled my order yet, so I could be saying all this in vain, and I may just get the hard one and say, hey, we're sorry, out of stock. I did find another store that had some of these, at least on their website, so I'll post those in the comments below if you're interested. They only made 1,100 of these hardbacks plus that record, so to me it's pretty limited run. And like I said, I don't know if they're going to ever release that record just by itself. So in the off chance they don't, that made the FOMO just rage inside of me. So anyway, that was my Record Store Day experience. I know that some titles got pushed to June. I'm contemplating making this the year. Maybe I do both of these Record Store Days out of town. I don't know. I love Plaid Room Records in Loveland, Ohio. It's always been a shop I've been to, albeit briefly. I got there right before they closed. It's a whole nother story. But I'm giving thought to maybe going to Record Store Day there just to kind of see what that's like in June. But who knows? We shall see. But hey, what did you get for Record Store Day? What were you hot after? What did you get? What did you miss? What was your experience like? Any good shops that you know about, have a good online presence, or worth visiting in the future? Would love to hear about it. But that's all I got for this video. If your Record Store Day was a good one like me, I hope it was. But hey, as we always say, what's that? If you get the chance, just spin it. Yeah, that's what we say, yo. If you get the chance, just spin it. I'll see you next time.
Well, well, well. How the turntables.
Well, we out of time.